I'll soon be passing you on to Michael Butler, and he will officially launch the finally truly global I4 service, and that means coverage for 100% of the world's population. For now, and without further ado, I welcome to the microphone Mr. Michael Butler, President and Executive Director of Inmarsat, to get this party started.
This week not only represents the official switching on of the Inmarsat 4 satellite, it's actually the culmination of effectively a 10-year investment program of some $1.5 billion of investment in the next generation of broadband services. Only 20% of the Earth's surface is covered by cellular networks, and it's not likely to increase much. So, we continue to provide services where those networks don't go, for those of you unfamiliar with Inmarsat services. When you look at these innovative solutions that companies like TC Communications are presenting to you to transform your business processes, to improve efficiencies, to drive costs out of your operations, to add value, whatever it is that you're doing, when you make that decision, you can make it safe in the knowledge that those satellites are going to be there operating for 17, 18 years, whatever the cycle is. Inmarsat is the only company, MSS company in the world with a fully funded next generation satellite network in orbit. So hopefully that'll give you confidence as you succumb to some of those tantalizing opportunities that TCCom continue to offer you in the months ahead. We consider Australia to be an innovation hotbed in terms of the applications and the like, and I think TC Communications have really exemplified that. So we think it's fantastic now to have coverage over this wider coverage area. Inmarsat's actually in the classification, we're a small and medium enterprise, less than 500 people, 80% of whom are based in London, but we operate this global satellite fleet. We do it very well, but it wouldn't turn into worthwhile customer solutions if it wasn't for our partners around the world. And we are blessed with a world-class network of some 500 manufacturing service applications partners around the world who bring all of that together and really take full advantage of the core operating power that we have in the satellites. And as I've already mentioned, I think that TC Communications is foremost amongst them. What we're going to do, we are currently one of the sponsors, or the sole airtime provider for the Volvo Ocean Race, which has currently just left Qingdao and is on its way on a 40-day leg to Rio de Janeiro. So what we're going to be doing is setting up a live video link to that yacht. So what we're going to do is we're going to establish a call to the Il Mostro yacht, which is sponsored, it's the Puma boat, and is doing very well in the Volvo Ocean Race. And as Diana mentioned at the start, we have Chris Nicholson with us. Now, he's a veteran of 3 Volvo Ocean Races. Andrew, good morning. This is Michael Butler from Inmarsat. I hope you can hear me. We're sorry we couldn't fit a large flat screen TV on the vessel for the 40-leg rate. But if you could give some kind of hand signal to let me know that you can hear me, please. There you go.
Okay, so we've seen the I4 technology in action, talking to a yacht out in the Pacific, and we've heard from Michael about the network. But I'd like to talk to you a little bit today about how that network is being used and some of the technology we've been developing to further use the network, and that's both on land, at sea and in the air. Our former Prime Minister Malcolm Fraser in Somalia some years ago, and beside him is his mobile telephone. It's a 32-kilo trunk costing some $100,000, and we'll let him make a phone call. But if we fast forward to today, and we talk about Professor Richard Mackay, an Australian archaeologist, rebuilding Angkor Wat, the Angkor Wat temple complex in Cambodia, using his BGAN, making voice calls, sending his data back all at the same time on something that clearly just fits into his backpack. And so that much bigger, more powerful spacecraft has really revolutionised what we can do on the ground today. Okay, but some of the other things that got us thinking, in the aid agency and what we call the first responder world today, we know that they hit the ground running with typically a VHF handheld radio. And that's just fine if you only need to communicate locally. But what if you need to get back to headquarters? And that's a critical piece of communications you need when you're trying to organise logistics and help people. And so the 2004 tsunami was the catalyst for us to think, well, how do we help these first responders use their radios to talk to headquarters? So we've developed some technology we call push-to-talk BGAN. It's a unit here tonight, and that allows you to reach back into the world's telephone networks with your radio via a BGAN terminal. And it costs about the same amount to operate as a normal handheld satellite telephone, but instead of having 50 people in the field helping with aid operations, all trying to make phone calls home. They can get on their radio, all hear the same information at the same time, saves them money and saves them considerable time. Now, if we move into the aeronautical area, I think the I4 network and a service called Swift Broadband is a major revolution. So we've been talking to a number of people and other organisations about how we might deliver reasonable data connections off aircraft. And in Australia today, we're a very, very large user of aircraft, but the aircraft are quite small. But armed with Swift Broadband, we can now produce a terminal device that's extremely small. It'll fit in very, very small aircraft. And people like the Flying Doctor and many of the other aeromedical providers can deliver patient data live whilst in flight. They can gain expert opinions whilst in flight, potentially diverting the aircraft to a more suitable landing spot to support a patient. And operating aircraft is very, very expensive exercise, and being able to do this in flight could save them considerable operating costs. It's much, much cheaper to use a satellite to communicate that information than fly the aircraft in different locations. So we got to thinking, well, how can we take this a step further? So we built what we call a streaming system, or Eye in the Sky 2. And Eye in the Sky 2 takes that same live video from the aircraft, but instead of only sending it back to headquarters, it delivers it into a secure server system, and anybody with the right security credentials, a laptop and a broadband connection can see what the aircraft sees. We have a little application that they can download and view what the aircraft sees, and so one or many experts can look at the same feed and make assessments and help the guys in flight make quick decisions, take the aircraft onto another location after they've made those quick decisions. They don't have to hang around on site. Now we got to thinking, what's one further step we can go with this? And so we've done some experimentation. That's actually an iPhone, and I can show you the device here tonight. And well, we can actually provide the same video stream feed to a handheld smartphone. With 3G networks today, that expert doesn't even need to carry a laptop. He could be carrying a smartphone with a 3G cellular connection, see the same video feed that experts in headquarters or with laptops could see.